Hi guys, how's it going? I hope you all are doing well. I'm Nayanika. I hope you haven't forgotten me. It's been quite a long time since I last actively filmed a sit down video, but that's because my life in the last couple of months have changed a lot. So yeah, I couldn't find the time to actually sit down and film a video and all of that, um, but I'm back, and hopefully I'll be more um, regular with my videos from now on, because it's only now that my life has finally got back on track, on a new track I would say. But I finally found a routine that suits me, so that is why I'm finally able to sit down and make some time for you all. So I think I'm just gonna put the timestamps below so that you can check out which part you are more interested in. I'll be giving you a brief life update, and then I'll also be talking about, well, basically sharing my picks for the media book freakout tag. So yeah, right. So in terms of giving you a life update, I have just finished. I just finished my MA degree. I graduated, and it's all officially over. So yeah, the last few months were really hectic. In the end of May and June, I was really trying to wrap up the course. I was also doing a dissertation, so I got really caught up with that. And you know how it is. I mean, the last days of a semester are always very hectic, and coupled with that, the fact that that it was not just the last day of any other semester, it was the last day of the last semester. Yeah, so life got really busy for me, and so I've also started going to the gym after a long time after Corona. So it's been a big change, but I'm really liking it, and it's been giving me just what I need. Alright, so by the way, I've also started working. Your girl is an employed individual now. I work in a publishing house, so it's definitely fun, and definitely, I would say, a dream come true for me, because I always wanted to work in a publishing house. I'm learning a lot, and my colleagues are really wonderful people. Loving it so far. So fingers crossed. And yeah, that's pretty much my life update. So do let me know how you all have been. I've just, trying to I've been trying to get used to this new routine, so I couldn't really make the time. Before, basically, I have to reach my office by 9:30, 9:45 latest, and then I'm there working for 8.5 hours, and then I come back home, take a quick break, and then I go to the gym for an hour and a half, at max 2 hours, and then come back home, make my dinner, have food, read a bit or watch something, and then go to sleep. So basically, that's the routine I've been living these days, and I love it. I love this. I feel very productive this way, and I'm genuinely very happy with the job that I'm doing right now. So I mean, yeah, there are certain parts of any job that, certain parts of it that you might not be really liking, but overall, I am really happy with this job. So like I said, it's a dream come true. So that's pretty much my life update. I've been reading more or less, and as of this time, what day is it today? It's Friday, 22nd of July. So anyway, as of today, I've finished reading 100 books this year, so I'm really happy. That's a big number, and yeah, I'm just really happy. And by the way, this is my new setup. I've got shelves now full of books, so they're probably gonna fill up very soon, but let's see. Anyway, moving on to the mid-year book freakout tag now. I might not be able to show you physical books, because I mean, I live in a PG, so everything's mixed up. Some of them I've already sent back home, so all of that. But anyway, let's start with the mid-year book freakout tag, because it's something that I really love doing every year, whether it's as a video or as an Instagram post. But yeah, it's something that I really look forward to, and I've in fact made a spread for it on in my bullet journal, which I haven't decorated on the outside. But anyway, It's my mid-year book freakout tag. So yeah, let me share with you all the books that I've been reading, or all my picks for all of these questions. So the first question is best book you've read so far in 2022, and I have it right here actually. It's called Whereabouts by Jhumpa Lahiri. Now this is basically a collection of snippets by the author, which I really liked. The author living alone in a city in Italy. It was very much like my own experience being reflected in what the author was writing, because I was also living alone in a new city, away from family for the first time in my life. So it's still a very novel feeling. So really enjoyed this book. Really made me emotional as well. In some points, I annotated a lot of it, and as you can see, I've only added one bookmark. But anyway, overall I really loved it, and it's one book I actually really recommend to people who are flying out of the nest at the moment, because it really gives you company as well in some moments. So one book I really recommend. Right, so the next question is the best sequel that you read this year. And for this, I'm going to pick up House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas, which is the sequel to House of EAB, what was it? Earth and Blood. So I really loved it. Again, I got to see and read about some of my really favorite characters. I'm sure at this point you know that I really like what Sarah J. Maas writes. And this one is very much like an urban fantasy. So we have fallen angels, people with special powers, elves. Were they elves? I think so, yeah. So it's really interesting. The romance is just as good. It's definitely adult fantasy. There's a lot of sex scenes which kids might not, which are not for kids. There's the friendships that these people share is also interesting, and I just really loved it. And there's also a very forbidden romance that emerges towards the middle/end of the book. So that was unexpected but really interesting as well. What else? It's been quite some time since I read the book, so I don't remember a lot of it. But yeah, overall it was really fun. It also helps, like all Sarah J. Maas books, it's not just about the fantasy elements. There's also a lot of the character development, so human emotions, dealing with trauma, moving on, all of those things are explored in this book through the different characters. So yeah, that was definitely the best sequel I read this year. And I mean, if you want something fantasy, like urban fantasy, like with romance, friendship, amazing conversations and all of that, this is one I would definitely recommend. Alright, so the next question is favorite reread of the year, and for that I have to say that my favorite reread was Blurred Lines by Lauren Lane. It's basically a brother's best friend romance, so, and also Grumpy X Sunshine, which are two tropes that I really enjoy. So there's this guy, there's a brother and a sister. The brother has to go away because of some internship he's doing, so he asks his best friend to move into his house, which is just next to the sister's house. So now they're neighbors as well, and she has an amazing group of girlfriends as well. So all of these girls are really sort of intrigued by this main lead. So I think his name was Alex Volkov. Really liked it. I mean, of course, since it's a reread, the first time I read it was in the form of a Kindle book, and this time around I got to actually listen to it as an audiobook because of libro.fm, which I really enjoyed. The narrators did a great job with narrating the story as well, and the guy's voice was just amazing. So yeah, that was definitely my favorite reread of the year. And if you're looking for romance with those tropes that I just mentioned, I forgot how noisy it can be where I live, and how impatient the drivers in Delhi are. I'm remembering that now as I try to sit and film a video. But anyway, that's my favorite reread of the year. Moving on, what is the question? Genre you've been reading / loving the most. So during my last semester of my MA, we did a course called Indigenous Literature, Indigenous Fiction from the Northeast, and as such I got to read many books from the Northeast that I hadn't read before. So many of the books you'll see in this shelf or I think all of the books in the shelf are from Northeast. So basically this is a genre that I got to explore a lot during the last semester of my university, and it's a genre that I've been reading. I think so far this year I've read um, 12, 12 or 13 books from the Northeast, from writers written by authors belonging to the Northeast, from the different states of Northeast. And I think uh, I'm yet to read from Tripura and Sikkim, but I have those books right here. So those are ones I'm gonna read. Just for reference, I'm gonna share those with you. So from Tripura, I have Tales and Tunes of Tripura Hills. This is compiled and edited by Chandrakanta Murasingh. It's a Sahitya Academy book, so it was really affordable as well at just 100, and I'm really glad I got it. I'm definitely looking forward to reading it because this will definitely also be my first book from Tripura. As for Sikkim, I am hoping to read Legends of the Lepchas, folk tales from Sikkim by Shidoma, and it's also illustrated by Pankaj Thapa. So there are these nice illustrations on the sides. So these are the two books from Northeast India that I'm going to read in the, I think, August onwards. If you have any more recommendations from specifically these two states, Tripura and Sikkim, please do let me know. Preferably fiction, you know me. So yeah, that's the genre that I've been reading a lot and really loving as well, and it's been very informative because I mean, you know how it is in history books, you hardly get to know about the Northeast. I mean, and I being a person from Assam, from the Northeast, is saying that. So yeah. Then moving on, we have new release you haven't read yet but want to. So I'm very eager and intrigued to read Book Lovers. My god, that was really loud. So there are two books that I'm really excited to read that are new releases. The first is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. It's a romance, and as far as I know, Emily Henry has come out with 3 books, People We Meet on Vacation, or You and Me on Vacation. Then we have Book Lovers, and we also have Beach Read. So technically I want to read all of Emily Henry's books, but the new release is Book Lovers after all, so I'm excited to read that. And I also have an audiobook of this, thanks to Libro.fm once again. I'm hoping to pick up the audiobook quite soon. And in fact, I have another new release that I'm excited to read, and this is Family of Liars by, oh my god, I can't believe I just forgot the name of the author. So I read the first book, We Were Liars, quite some time ago, and I kind of liked it. The ending came as a surprise to me, definitely. But I, for one, was I actually thought that it was bringing the book to a full circle. It's basically about a group of cousins who are meeting on their private island during the summer, and you know, something happens and something is revealed. I don't know how to inform you guys about the story synopsis of the first book without giving away the whole ending. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but let me I'll definitely try to put up a synopsis on the screen so that you can definitely check it out. It's really interesting. I really liked it, and I think I let my sister also borrow the book, and she also loved it as well. So yeah, those were the two new releases that I haven't read yet, but definitely want to. And if you've read them, either of them, let me know what you think. Alright, so moving on, the next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I'm not sure about the exact date, but I know that one retelling is coming out very soon by Natalie Haynes, and it's called Stone Blind. So as far as I know, this is Medusa's story, and Medusa as a character has always, I always thought of her as a villain, you know. But then with recent times, feminist revisionist mythology is a genre that is coming up, you know, with all of these retellings in fiction. So this is one character I really want to read, and this is also a wonderful sculpture that I came across, I think, some time ago, which I really loved, and you know, it just sparked my interest. And when I knew that Natalie Haynes is coming up with this new book, I was definitely intrigued, and that's why it's in my list. But yeah, I'm not sure about the date actually. It might have already released by the time I upload this video, but I don't know. In case you've read, and if you have read the arc of it, or if you are interested in reading it as well, do let me know. I mean, I would love to know your thoughts. Alright, moving on. So the next question is biggest disappointment. Now my biggest disappointment was actually a short story that I read. It's called Wildlife by Jeff Vandermeer. Um, okay, so bear with me. I really want to read Annihilation, the Annihilation trilogy or the Southern Reach trilogy by Vandermeer, because I've watched the movie Annihilation, which features oh my god, Natalie Portman and what was his name? Oscar Isaac. I forgot his name. Was it that? Anyway, so yeah, it's a wonderful movie, and it's of course sci-fi and everything. So, and I haven't read a good sci-fi in a long time. So I really want to read Jeff Vandermeer's books, and that's why when I saw that this book was available for like, I forgot what's the term, Prime Reading or Prime Reading, I think. So for free, I downloaded it on my Kindle for some time. I read it, the short story named Wildlife, and I just didn't like it. I think it really fell short of it. Either that or I personally did not understand the story, but I just felt like it was such a letdown, so anticlimactic, because I don't know, the author was trying to convey as if there's something greater in the wildlife in the wild, and he gives a vibe of that as well towards the end, but then it's also very ambiguous. I got cut off, but I felt like it was more about the people in the book than in that story than something greater than that. Or maybe I'm just misreading it. I don't know. I really did not enjoy that story, so it was definitely a big disappointment for me, considering the fact that I was really looking forward to starting with Jeff Vandermeer with that short story. So moving on to the next question, it is, what's the biggest surprise? So my biggest surprise is definitely The Love Hypothesis. I absolutely loved that book. So basically it's again a romance, adult romance. We have a research student and a professor, and I just really love the story. I haven't really, I mean, I have read romances in which there's a sort of power difference, for instance boss secretary romance, office romances, but I haven't read anything within adult romance set in an academia setting. So this was definitely new, and it was also like a fake relationship angle that they did, so that was definitely interesting, and I really loved the characters. I've actually come to a point where I've forgotten the names of the characters, but love the guy. If only we had such guys in academia. But anyway, it's one book I really loved, and I think I rated it 4 or 5 stars. Really wonderful, and one I just just rushed through because I couldn't stop once I started it, and it's one of the romance books that's going to stay with me for a long time, because I know I put up a post about this book, Marriage for One, and also the Spanish Love Equation. All of these 3 books were ones that I really loved, new adult romances that I've read recently. So that's that. So of course the next question, favorite new author, is definitely the author of The Love Hypothesis. I'm actually not sure how to pronounce the name. Ali Hazelwood. I hope I'm not pronouncing it wrong, but the author has also come up with a second book, I think, sort of like a second book in the series, isn't it? So that's one I'm really excited to read. So yeah, the next question is, oh my god, one thing I'm going to relearn as I start filming videos, is how to be patient. So anyway, the next question is, newest favorite character. Unfortunately, I don't think I have an answer for it for you all, so we'll just move on to the next. The next question is, book that made you cry. It is In the Language of Remembering by Anshul Malhotra. So okay, let me begin by telling you that I've read Anshul Malhotra before. I think last year, or was it the year before that? last year I think, Remnants of a Separation. So it's basically, so that book was basically about um, people's memories that are connected to physical material things that they've brought with them from where they were to where they are post independence. So a lot of these families have memories. I'm not able to explain it very well, but basically it's about material memory. You know, sometimes there was a story about this woman who brought her jewelry, like sort of pearls that were once given to her by a maharaja, or it was passed down or something like that when they moved from across the border during partition. There's also the story of another of a sari that was made into different handkerchiefs and given to the daughter-in-laws, girls of the family. uh, it was how, you know, that bits of the sari was how material memory basically passed on. I'm not explaining it very well, but that was the basic gist of that book, which was Remnants of a Partition. So in this book, in the language of remembering, it's basically um, the author again exploring the different stories of the people who went through who went through partition basically. So it deals with a lot with memory. So there's a story about this family which had to relocate because of partition, and then, you know, years later, because of the goodwill of the new people who lived in their previous home, they could get back the sort of like plaque that was on which their name was written, you know, back when it used to be that house before partition. So all of that. So it's definitely a very sad, I mean, it's definitely, it's a very profound read really, because you don't expect. And you know, I as a person belong to a family that didn't face much, if any, displacement during partition. So the whole idea of partition was at best a historical event for me. You know, it was not something personal. But with Anshul Malhotra's book, firstly, in the what Remnants of Our Separation, and this one in the language of remembering, this experience was made very, very real for me. I think reading about the people, their lives, and definitely, you know, it's so much about loss and how people dealt with it, their memory, and all of that. So it definitely was a book that made me cry. But it was an actually very good book, one that I would definitely recommend to you all. So the next book is again, it's a book that made you happy, and this time, remember I mentioned this book, Marriage for One by Ella Mace. It's the one that made me really, really happy. Again, it's a marriage of convenience romance. The guy falls in love with the girl, and I mean, of course, ultimately they fall in love with each other. That's the whole point. This development of feelings for each other through the marriage of convenience. It's interesting, and he's such a nice guy. She builds this bakery, I think, yeah, or a cafe. I forgot which one. And he helps her through it, and they slowly develop feelings for each other. And I mean, of course, there's also the problem that comes up always. All of it, they resolve it quite well, and I think overall the book was done really, really well. Forgive me for not being able to remember much, because it's been quite some time, and like I said, life just got in the way in the past couple of months. So my brain is all frazzled. I'm still recovering, but anyway, that's that. Next up is most beautiful book you've bought so far this year, and I think this definitely is an illustrated graphic novel, which you can see right here. It's basically part 2. The first one was Vyasa. It was called Vyasa. I had read it, I think, a couple of years ago, and I really loved it. It's basically an illustrated telling of the Mahabharata. Really loved it. So when I could get my hands on this one, I immediately bought it. Again, it's part 2 in the whole series, which I think is going to be 5-book series. So it's one I would definitely recommend you all, because the illustrations are done really, really well, and overall I had a great time. I think I'm really gonna cherish all of these books, and I'm really eager for the 3rd book to come out so that I can get my hands on it really soon. The thing is, you know, with graphic novels, you can read them so soon, but actually creating them with the, you know, art and illustrations, all of that. I mean, not, it's not just that I'm sure, but I mean, everybody knows it takes such a long time, and you read it just like that. So yeah, really excited for the third part to come out, because then I can get my hands on that and read that as well. And Mahabharata is such an interesting story, so yeah, really interested in reading the third part. But overall, to answer the question, the most beautiful book you've bought this year, it has to be this beautiful graphic novel, which I recommend to all of you. So the next question is, what book do you need to read by the end of the year? And I think I'm going to answer that. I have two of those right here. So the first one is The Lonely City by Olivia Lang, and basically it's The Lonely City: Adventures in the Art of Being Alone. That's the full name. So this is a book that I bought because I've seen it a lot on social media. I've seen excerpts of it, and all of those excerpts are ones that I really relate to, because you know, I'm also living alone in a big lonely city, and it does get lonely sometimes. So this is one book that I got. I'm gonna read out the synopsis from the back, because I think it explains the what this book is about very well. It's non-fiction, by the way, so keep that in mind. When Olivia Lang moved to New York City in her mid-30s, she found herself inhabiting loneliness on a daily basis. Increasingly fascinated by this most shameful of experiences, she began to explore the lonely city by way of art. Moving fluidly between the works and lives of some of the city's most compelling artists, Lang conducts an electric, dazzling investigation into what it means to be alone, illuminating not only the causes of loneliness, but also how it might be redeemed and embraced. So it's one book I'm really excited to read, and I think it's also a very lovely cover. And the second book that I want to show and present to you as the answer for this question, that is books you want to read by the end of the year, we have Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. I'm really sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. I should have looked it up before. Again, this is also a non-fiction book, sort of autobiographical, I believe. Let me share a synopsis with you if I can, because I don't think it's here. I don't know why books nowadays don't have the synopsis at the back. Instead, it has all of these blurbs. I don't care about blurbs, dude. I want to read about the about of the book. So anyway, I'll read out a couple of these blurbs, I guess. We've got Mary Claire, who says, "As good as everyone says it is, and yes, it will have you in tears. An essential read for anybody who has lost a loved one, as well as those who haven't." Everyone's talking about this author as if being the front woman of the cult indie band Japanese Breakfast wasn't enough. Michelle Zauner is fast becoming a rising literary star too. Probably the best book I've read all year, the story of a young Korean American woman coming to terms with the early death of her mother and the role that food played in their often turbulent relationship. It's written with a lightness of touch, tackling grief, loss, and love in a way that I've already read before, that I've rarely read before. Fascinating. So yeah, it's basically a food memoir, moving and funny book about grief, family, and Korean cooking. So yeah, definitely a book I'm looking forward to. So these are the two books that I'm gonna end my video with, and I hope you had a wonderful time. Basically, I have mixed feelings about coming back to filming, because it's been quite some time, and I think I'm gonna need some time to get used to filming again, but we'll see. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's not too rambly and too long. I'll probably get to know when I'm editing it, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and all the sounds in it. Oh my god, people are so impatient. Anyway, that's me complaining, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I'll see you again very soon. I hope I can make some time to film another video very soon. Until then, I hope you take care, and Bye. It was nice filming after so long.